Hello, hello, and welcome to what will be the 12 noon. Lighting, cameras, action. Oh, hairpiece. Let me have a look at this. This isn't looking very bright today. Maybe I'll be feeling a little bit brighter after our movement snack. Let's just have a little look at... Hello, Rosemary. I can see you're sharp today. Sorry about any shakiness. Literally just took a call seconds before I was ready to come live. What's happened there? This is what happens when you've not quite got your camera ready. One sec, let's see. None of that. Well, that'll have to do by the looks of things. Although that's still not made it brilliant, has it? But there we go. I'm here, you're here. And that's all we need for a movement snack. So if you're here on catch up, skip across the next 3 minutes or so and you'll find the circulation booster. We're going to be doing a little bit of, as it's November knees, we've got the last bit of knee bending type actions to be focusing in on. We've also got a little bit of, I don't know if any of you saw my welcome message, but it was a woman laid under the tree, her Christmas tree. It's actually a greetings card, and it says something along the lines of, lying down underneath the Christmas tree because you are a present, you are a gift to your family. And that's the thing I'm going to be doing. We're going to get the Christmas tree up, possibly this weekend. We'll see how festive we're feeling by then. And I'm just going to lie underneath it. Did it look like a heat seeker then, Ken? Is that what it was? It was like kind of... what you see on Predator, yeah? When they're looking for the heat signal. That's what I looked like when you came in. Press the wrong button. Right, afternoon then, Ken, Vivian, Paul, Rosemary, Doris is here, Odile is present and correct for today's noontime. You will need a sturdy chair, or you could utilise anything like a coffee table, your settee, an armchair or something like that. We're going to do the beginnings of and focus on a few different areas and moves that contribute to us getting downwards and upwards from the floor. Now, I'm not asking you to actually do that today or any day unless you want to. You are confident in your abilities and you want to practice getting downwards and upwards from the floor. Here in today's movement snack won't be the whole sequence. Bex has taken you through that in a week's worth of noons before. So it's always worth a look back upon. I'm going to see if I can find it actually, and I can maybe put the search in so that any of you that want to look back at that week's worth of noons that Bex did about getting down and up from the floor, you can kind of revise and look at it at a later date, some other time. But we're going to cover a few things, a few requirements around getting down and up from the floor, so that you can lie yourself underneath the Christmas tree in a comfortable position as a gift to your family, just to remind them how precious you actually are. Afternoon, Sandra. Linda's in as well. Good afternoon to you. Carol Kent's arrived. And we've got Gillian as well. Right, it's 12 noon. We'll make a dent in this movement snack, shall we? Right, 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon and welcome. It's the very last and final day of November. It is the 30th. It is a Wednesday. And my kids have opened their Advent calendar #1 date already. So they're just going to have to wait a bit longer until the 2nd. But today's the 30th. We're going to get on with a bit of November Knees, our finale for this November. And we're going to start with a bit of Cirque Boost. So are you ready? Are you steady? Are you go, go, go? Right, let me get my external support organised. Heavy bit of furniture for me over here is what I'll use, or a wall, a worktop, a tabletop, something sturdy and firm. A good dining room chair is what I'll use here as well, although you could be using an armchair, a sofa, a bench, anything that's available. Right, standing prompts first. External support you might need in place, have that nearby, handy, but try not to hunker over it. Try and lift your posture, straighten out your spine a little bit and best you can, and then start with some foot pedals. Working into the feet, the ankles, the knees and the hips. There's a little bit of weight transfer as well. So there's lots of things going on, even with such a simple leg march, foot pedal manoeuvre. Hip walks then. Holding onto the side of seats, you will need to shift and hotch and walk and shift your hips forwards. Getting yourself comfortable in a forwards perched position. Foot pedals on the end of your legs there, progressing into leg marches with a little bit of focus around what's happening down at the other end. So pushing up from the ball of your foot to pick the knee up, to work through the hips, well, to assist the hips in this lifting action, and then landing down, rolling down, avoiding your flat-footedness and any stompy movements that might come with a leg march. So we're working, we're rolling, we're taking our feet through it. Keep your legs going, best you can. If you want, add an arm swing in. Let the more bits and pieces we've got moving, the more muscle groups, joints, everything else. If you can and if you want to, bring the second arm in. Otherwise, just switch from one side to the other. If anything quality-wise or coordination-wise starts to go downhill, just take the arms out, maybe keep the legs going. Our legs contain the biggest muscles in our body. So for Cirque Boost purposes, it kind of makes sense that they're the bits that we keep going. If your hips are aching a bit, your legs are feeling tired, it's okay to feel tired. Try and push through a little bit of that. But if you need to, you can rest them down and just have a small focus around arm swings. We've got the drive of the elbows back to produce more movement from the shoulder. We've got fixed angles at the elbows, again, to help produce more movement from the shoulders. Big old junction, this shoulder area. Lots of crisscrosses. It's like a spaghetti junction of deep muscles and layers of muscles crisscrossing over the shoulder joint, the shoulder area, the girdle, etc. So important to warm up the shoulders as well. Steady yourself down and bring that to a stop. Should be feeling some deeper breathing, lungs expanding, rib cage expanding, taking on a little bit of more oxygen, a little bit more breathing. Rather than short and fast, make it longer, deeper and slower with your breathing. All right, so we've got a menagerie of moves that make up how we might get ourselves down and up from the floor. And this is so that you can lie down and get back up from the garden, the flooring in your house, down on the floor in any situation. And also it helps manoeuvres on when you're lying down as well, on a couch, on a bed, on a sofa, wherever you are. Are you ready? So we need to get the knees warmed up a little bit, the legs warmed up. So if you like, put a few jockey lifts in, or put a few knee bends in. So start small, maybe do a couple small, tiny, then try a few a little bit lower and deeper. And if you are knee bending, heels are flat down and knees, try not to knock them in towards each other. If you're doing the jockey lift, same again, but you might want to tuck your feet back a little bit and bring your body weight forwards, and then you've got a little boost there. So leg strength boosting, we need power on any upwards rising if we are getting down or closely down to the floor. Few of these just to warm the legs up. Now, if you're in standing, we're now going to progress onto a stride and a knee bend. And this focuses around a little bit of mobility around the ankles. If you need your support, have that to the side of you rather than in front, because you'll kind of run out of space if you're striding in towards your support. Right, I need to move one or two things. I've got some obstacles. So with a tall posture, shoulders over hips, take a stride, feel the heel come up at the back, and then take a knee bend, and then push up, and then recover back to your good posture. Have a go on the other side. So the stride is a heel toe stride with a shift of weight, with a knee bend, and back to where you came from. Okay, so we're taking a bit of strain and work through the knee bend rather than hunkering down and holding on and heaving through the top half there in standing. If you've got some support, then that will of course help your balance on striding. Now, seated, we're just going to focus around a bit of ankle mobility, which is what you really need to be able to have the toes tucked under. So let's have a look at how we can do this. Sit back in your chair if you like, lift the leg. This is the morning movement of the ankles, pointing and pulling back. Have about 4 or 5 of those on each side. We're getting a little bit in standing of ankle movement as we do these stride knee bends. One leg may feel, or you may notice, you've got a definite shift and difference in strength. So if you're ever getting down or up from the floor, have a think about striding forwards or coming into this split knee bend position with your strongest leg forwards first. Seated. You've done your heel toe or pointing and pulling back ankle mobility moves. We also need a little bit of calf strength. As your legs work together in the stride knee bend, you're pushing up through the calf muscles as well as these bigger muscles here. So here's your option in seated. Come onto your elbows. We did this in yesterday's movement snack. So you've got a little bit of load through, or you can choose to have a heavy pot plant, a weight of some description. You might do this with a grandchild sat on your knee. Probably not your child though, they might be a bit big these days. And we've got some heel raises with a bit more load through our legs and feet. Have a few of those and then sit up and recover. So those of you in standing, If you've let your legs have a little bit of a rest, what we're now going to do is a little bit for the upper body. So we're going to do a wall press. So loading into the wrists and hands take some strain, the front and back of arms take some strain, and the shoulders and upper back area also are used to support kind of a hands and knees position on the floor. Let's have a look at the wall press for those of you stander-uppers then. Right, so find your way to a wall. If it feels easier, you could have your hands over a ledge. You can probably just see that there. This is a little bit narrow for me, but I'd have my hands a little bit wider, maybe on a work surface or a tabletop. You're in a slightly different position than in a wall press, but we're still going to be loading through the arms and the chest. A little bit wider than chest distance. Straight posture and a bend through the arms and a press away. Now sometimes with having your hands flat on the wall, your wrist bend might not like that angle. Okay. So if it's more difficult, have something that you can hold on to. Like, let me just drag this over. I won't be doing a wall press on this because it's a chair and it will move. But you could have your hands a little bit more comfortably set like that, which might be a bit better than trying to achieve the right angle with the hands against the wall. Put a few of those in. A lower control and a push away. I'm just going to do a couple more here. Try and keep your posture as strong as you can to support that bending and pushing back of the elbows. Now, seated, if you've just been practicing that action, that's great. We can put some squeeze into the muscle areas, but we're not really working against anything. Here's how you can. Tuck one elbow into your side. Have your tea towel rather tight and then push one arm forwards and draw it back. You can kind of get a buy one, get one free here. So there's the chest squeeze. And then as we draw back, we can get the elbow squeeze as well and work into the upper back area. Pressing and squeezing. Pressing and squeezing. Switching on all of our muscles and grip. In standing, to get some upper back work in, let's do a few repetitions of the upper back strengthener. So comfortable position, sit down if you want to, pull out, squeeze back, elbows tucked in, a little bit of a pause and a hold at the back end of this. So we've got some grip and wrist work, some forearm work kicking in as well. We've got some upper back work, upper backwards supporters in our all fours positions, in our side sitting positions on the floor, on the bed, on the grass, underneath the tree. And these should feel quite effortful. In the few that we do, 5, 8, 10-ish repeats, should feel like you're working quite hard. There's a bit of effort in those last 3 or 4 or so repetitions. Okay, so if in seated you may have changed sides now for a push and a squeeze back. Just keep this anchor arm still. You'll get a bit of grip work in the anchor arm as well. There we have some arm and upper body focus strengtheners. Okay, so those of you who want to have a go at this, have a go. have a watch first maybe. And those of you who don't feel ready to have a go at this or haven't seen the process of getting down and up from the floor before, just have a look. Having a look, having a listen can be equally as valuable as having a go yourself. So I've got a firm and sturdy chair or an armchair, something like that. A sofa, a coffee table can be just as good, or even some steps on a staircase. To get down to the ground, or to nearly get down to the ground, which is what some of you might prefer to do, you'll need a stride forwards. Well, it's not a massive stride, a step forwards, and then we can get our weight over our arms and shoulders and wrists there. I'm holding on to the side of the seat. Now, if we are to bend the knees, everything's a bit too compact here. So we get the back foot wiggling back. So you might recognise that this long stride from the calf stretch that we do in the 4 p.m. But this isn't a calf stretch because we've got our heel up. Now what I've got is my arms, weight over my arms, hands, wrists, and a little bit of bend room for that back knee. If you're in this position right now, see how far down you can progress that knee bend. You've got some elbows bends coming in as well there. You might not quite touch the floor, and that doesn't matter. See how far you can get down and safely recover. All with the heel lifted and the front foot planted. All right, take a pause there. Readjust your feet. Now we've been perhaps leant over for a few moments now, so take your time in recovering up to upright. We got some extra leg work in there with a few repeats of the knee bend, lowering with control, back up again. Some of that process might have felt difficult, and that's okay. Hey, if it was easy, we wouldn't need a movement snack, would we? For those of you in seated, we've got a combination of those heel lifts, jockey lifts, which will put some strength into the calves and thigh muscles, which are essential for any downwards and upwards controlled movements. Thinking about how we do get down and how we might need to support ourselves on the ground, you know, like underneath that Christmas tree, laying down. That was a little bit of a morbid position, wasn't it? Laying down. I don't want to be in that position. Carol Kent. And all good stuff there. So the linkage of those different actions and moves, muscles, joints and all that jazz combined together, but also worked as individual entities, will help you to be successful in getting down and up from the floor. So you can take up that lying down position and proclaim to your family that you are a gift to their life. Right. Carol Kent says your youngest grandchild is 20. Her youngest grandchild is 26. He's 6'4", so he's not sitting on your knee. Would be a decent weight to work with though, wouldn't it? Maybe not very comfortable though. Agreed. You might have to get a dog or something. Right. I'll leave you to your day. Thank you, everyone. So last few thank yous and hellos. Helen, Angela, Sandra, Margaret Hamilton, Maya, and I think that's all of us done. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Bex will be with you at 4 p.m. for the sway and stretch. Thanks. Bye.